Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Electric Drive Africa. My name is Joseph, and I'm very happy and excited to be here. We are in Nairobi, Kenya, in Kilimani. We are with Vehicle as a Service startup.
Yes.
Yeah, eBee. I'm here with Olivia. Hello, Olivia.
Hi, hi.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
I'm pretty excited about meeting you and your company because micromobility is one of my core passions. And I think it has a beautiful place across the continent. One, it improves access to mobility because there's a large barrier for people to adopt vehicles in general on the continent. And I think micromobility helps lower those barriers. So maybe tell us your vision for eBee and why you're focusing on vehicle as a service and the type of vehicles you've chosen and what is your goal and your dreams.
Okay, so eBee as a company was started by some two Dutch men or brothers or friends. I'm not sure what they call themselves.
Okay.
Izzy and Joost. Their idea was to come in with a vehicle that allows to reduce the entry point for people to do business in Africa. Their aim was to bring in a vehicle that's clean, a vehicle that doesn't have so many requirements, but also allows entry into this delivery service for anybody who's looking for a job. So they started off with electric bicycles. We passionately refer to them as EVs. The whole idea of them is that it's fun to ride. It allows the rider to have endurance during their day. They do about 80 kilometers on a full battery.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And best part about it is anybody can do it. So we don't have a particular entry class. Our idea is to change the way culturally we have always believed that a bicycle is something that only the poor is a poor man's mode of transport.
Yes, in most
and make
African
it
countries.
and make it something that anybody can do it respectably and appreciate making money for themselves. So it gives people joy in being able to take care of themselves throughout their lives. So that's the aim from a social perspective. EBs as such for us, one of the joys is that we have gotten many customers interested in them. Our biggest customer being Jumia, a partnership through Jumia and Quatrix, where we do deliveries, short distances, and we see the KPIs are still the same for the customer. It has reduced the cost of transportation because they don't need any fuel. It's just a bicycle. The only thing that it does is it needs a battery which is charged, and to charge that battery is 8 shillings.
Wow, 8 shillings.
8 shillings, yeah, per charge. And one charge a day, 1.5 charges a day, you can ride 80 kilometers comfortably. So for a full day's charge, it's 8 plus 4, 12 shillings, and you go on your way.
Beautiful. So where do you charge your bikes? You charge them here using the grid, or you have some sort of solar system?
So at the moment we just use the normal grid. Our aim is to get them on on a solar system, which we still have to install on our site and test it out before we can allow people to do it outside. Right now we are trying to control everything because we do not want a situation where people come back and give us feedback that we are not aware about. It's for us to make sure that everything we give our customers is 100% perfect. So these batteries here, if you can charge your cell phone at home, you can charge this battery. Yeah.
And the good thing about Kenya, according to the latest statistics that came out last year from the Kenya Standards Statistics Report, is 92.3% of the energy generated in Kenya, electricity, was renewable.
Yes.
Mostly from geothermal, hydro, and wind, and some solar.
Yes.
So you are now coming in with clean mobility to build on that ecosystem of a very, very green Kenya in terms of the electricity side. Now you're coming in and cleaning up the transport side. So is that one of your drivers?
Yes. The whole idea is for us to ensure that we don't want this bike to ever be expensive. So for it to remain within its accepted category, everything has got to be easier and cheaper and cleaner. So most of the guys who we have here, we know cannot afford expensive forms of energy. We know they afford a cheaper form of energy. So we have to cater for them. That's always been the lookout for eBee as a company.
And bicycles don't appear to be as intimidating
No.
for maybe a younger person or maybe a lady compared to a border.
Yeah.
How are you finding the acceptance from your rider partners? Are there people coming from traditional border industry moving into this, or you are tapping into a newer pool of people to bring into the industry?
So for us, it's been a newer group. We
Okay.
never, our aim was never to invade the market. It was, we are coming in as a new entity altogether, new group of people. We know that the border people will always do their border business. So the current pool of riders we have are women, um, high school leavers who maybe don't have the opportunity to go to university and are looking to make money, people who traditionally maybe cannot afford to get a driver's license, just your average Kenyan who is looking to start out. We have some university students here who maybe cannot afford to do cannot afford a normal form of income, so they're looking for, how can I make some money and make it clean, and I don't want and I'm too scared to do a border, so I'll do a bicycle. And with a bicycle, you don't need a license, you don't need any special driving skills. You can just, if you've ridden a bicycle as a child, you can ride these bicycles.
Okay.
If you've ridden any form of bicycles, like the Mamba bicycles we used to have in the village, you can definitely ride these bicycles.
So do you take your partners through some sort of like safety course when you incorporate them, and even like, so like this is Africa, most of the cities are busy.
Yes.
You have your matatus with their own minds and your borders, and also just normal drivers who are just in a rush to get somewhere. How do how do you put like your riders on some sort of like routine or regime of maybe making them aware of the riding conditions in a big city?
So we have Peter and Silas on site, and their work is to take these guys through a training. So they have a classroom session for about 2 hours. During this classroom session, they're taught everything they need to know about the bicycle. Then after that, they are taken on the road, and they go on the road for about 2 hours again, just so that they can also get used to the fact that the bike has got gears, to see how the battery moves on the bike, also to understand what it means to ride on the road with all forms of other traffic. There's pedestrians, there's borders, there's matatus, there's just the normal driver, all sorts of things. So they are made physically aware of how it feels to be on the bike with all these things. And then they'll come back and they'll do that for at least 1 week. And then after that, we feel comfortable enough for them to go out on their own. But the first time, they go out in a pack. And the pack is about 7 guys with a team leader who's either Peter or Silas, and they ride on the road.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So what is the average trip distance for a rider, like for your delivery business?
So the normal turnaround time is about TAT, it's about 3 kilometers.
3 kilometers.
Yeah.
So this is a very efficient way of doing business.
Yeah.
Before, they were just borders,
Yeah.
and petrol borders even, polluting ones.
Yeah.
But now for 3 kilometers, it's not an efficient system of being on a border just to go 3 kilometers there, 5 kilometers there.
Yeah.
So this is actually tapping into like a key market that could actually improve efficiency of doing business and lower production costs for businesses.
Yeah.
Because as you said, it only costs 8 shillings to charge the bike the whole day. So it's actually a game changer. So you've partnered with Jumia. How are the general industry other players accepting and looking at working with you? How if they what has been the response?
So there's a lot of interest. A lot of people are interested in this new way of doing deliveries, a new way of doing business. We have had doctors come in and ask us whether they could use the bikes to do house-to-house medical checkups. We have had other forms of businesses come in to ask us whether they can use the bikes. So there's a lot of interest, and at the moment, one of the things is we can't keep up with the demand for these for the number of people who come in. Jumia allowed people to see that this is a business that can be done. Quatrix allowed people to see the type of people who would be interested in joining this business from a rider perspective. So it made everybody fully aware of the fact that you can get the same results for shorter distances on an electrical bicycle, and at the end of the day still make money. We see both the riders and businesses making money at the end of the day, and everybody's happy.
So people weren't scared about, okay, this bike is slower than a border. How fast does the bike go?
About 35
5
kilometers.
kilometers.
Yeah.
Okay. So it can still do the job in the accepted time.
Yes.
Was there any hesitation? People saying my deliveries might be late in the beginning, or what was the general initial response?
So that's why we went with food,
Uh-huh.
just to show people that your food will still get to you hot.
Just to get to your hotel.
Yeah, so that was the first
That was
thing.
the
So
first thing,
if we can still deliver to you hot food on a bicycle
Mhm.
and in the 3 kilometer radius,
Mhm.
then other deliveries will still
Like
be okay.
parcels and
Yes,
mails
they'll
and
still be
clothes, they'll
okay.
still be okay.
We have another business venture that we have through a company called Bicycle Delivers. They do exactly the same, which is delivery of parcels.
Mhm.
And the delivery of parcels for most people is still within their time requirements. So if they say they'll give you, it'll be there in 20 minutes, it will be there in 20 minutes, as long as it's within that sweet spot of about 3 to 5 kilometers turnaround time or radius.
You mentioned you have a very good problem, whereby you've gotten such a good reception.
Yeah.
There's more demand than you can cater to right now.
Yeah.
So it's part of the problems of starting, but it's a good one. How then are you looking at addressing that in a way that you can really supercharge your operations, but not maybe, how can I put it, take on too much at the
Yeah.
same time? How do you get that balance?
So one of the things that is a big challenge at the moment is the supply chain, especially globally.
Mhm.
So there is a backlog on requests for bikes across the world.
Mhm.
However, we are fortunate enough that we have Dutch roots, so our Dutch partners are then able to support us from that aspect. They're able to tap into the connections that they have and find out for us where we can get these bicycles and bring them in. The other thing for us is we don't want to just do mass at one go, because we want to make sure that whatever we bring in still has a quality. Quality of bikes we have right now is good quality. We would like to maintain that right across. We don't want to just bring in bicycles because there's a deep request for them. We want to bring in quality bicycles so that our product or our brand remains intact.
Where do your bikes come from?
So we have two partners, a partner in India, Tronics, and then a partner in the Netherlands.
But you expect them for our conditions here?
Yes. So every bike we bring in has been tested to make sure that it's fit for Africa. Yeah.
And you're currently only operating in Nairobi for now?
For now, we're operating in Nairobi. However, we have big ambitions. We want 1 million bikes on the streets of sub-Saharan Africa by 2030. So that means we will be visiting different countries shortly.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to hear that.
Yeah.
You mentioned something early on, which is prevalent across the continent.
Yeah.
People have this opinion that bikes are for like a poor man's transport,
Yeah.
whereas in Holland, one of my best friends stays in Rotterdam.
Yeah.
He goes to work on a bike. It's like normal.
Yeah.
So you are in the logistics business. What about your everyday person like me? I stay here in Kilimani, but if I want to go to a meeting in Kileleshwa, how do you get someone like that to be on a bike and not to be in an Uber or to just drive my 3-ton car when I'm only going to Kileleshwa? What do you think needs to happen for that change? And two, is that an area you're looking at, or you're just looking at logistics services for now? Are you also looking at personal transportation?
So we have had 100 requests, more than 100 requests for individuals looking for an electric bike to transport them from one place to another. The reason why we haven't tapped into that yet is because there are logistical issues around doing business with an individual, because we are a lease business. We are not a lease to own yet, or we don't sell the bikes yet.
Yeah, vehicle as a service.
Yes. So, and one of the things we are clear about is that we haven't developed skill around maintenance of the bikes. So far, the guys we have here are the only guys who we are aware of who can repair and maintain and do all the things that are necessary to keep the bike functioning. So once we have fully developed that, we want to expand. The individuals who have called us, requested us for these bikes, who are not companies, we always tell them it's our desire to work with them. Our KYC is not up and ready yet. However, once it is, we will definitely reach out to them. We are very well aware of the fact that there are very many people who still see these bikes as a poor man's form of transport, but there are also very many cycling enthusiasts in Kenya. So we believe that it will generally spread across. If it did happen in Europe, it will happen.
It will happen here.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time. We are obviously a little bit behind the rest of the world, but we're catching up. We're catching up really fast.
In fact, because there's like sort of like in terms of transport, we're sort of like there's like an extreme need. If you just look in general transportation, there are about less than 50 cars per 1,000 people in most African countries, whereas in the USA there are 800 cars per 1,000 people. So there is an underserved market in general transportation, not just in the cities, but also in the rural areas. My friend Kathy, she went, we did an episode last year with some enthusiasts. She went riding around Westlands, almost going to CBD, just to check out how easy is it for someone to commute on a bike. And I think some of the things they noticed is there are some bike lanes in some places, but the general public sometimes don't respect the bike lanes. So there might need to be a lot of education in terms of like people staying clear of the bike lanes, because sometimes you have some people who are already selling things, their wares there on the bike lane, and border riders trying to beat the traffic getting onto the bike lane, and you know. So are you involved in any sort of like lobbying or engagement with stakeholders to try and conscientize even the local authorities in terms of like how we should really promote cycling and bike lanes and the infrastructure and ecosystem around that?
There is a lot that's happening in the background. There are a lot of agencies which have engaged the government around the way our roads are structured and how we can change it to support these new forms of transport. And we are participating in all of it. It's a really big thing. I think in the next 5 years, we will definitely see a lot of change around it. There's a lot of conversations that are happening from the UN to what are those guys called? GIZ, who's a German government agency. They're all looking at how do we then get these structures changed. We do believe that the changes will happen, and we do believe that they will be supported by government. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of being patient. If Kenya can come up with amazing super highways like the ones we see going up, a bicycle lane or an electric mobility lane should not be a big problem.
So how many bikes do you have right now in your business?
So right now we have a total of 100.
Wow.
Yeah. So they are all running across the streets of Nairobi, doing various things.
And what have you enjoyed the most in yourself personally in this journey?
The thing I've enjoyed the most is actually seeing women ride these bicycles, because it's very strange to see a lady on a border, but they feel comfortable enough to ride these.
Not so intimidating.
Yeah, and then when you're driving around the streets of Nairobi and you see one of the bikes delivering something, and the guy is fully comfortable and he doesn't look like he's struggling to ride up and down the road, that also gives you joy, because it means you have something that's working. And then also just seeing all the people who want to adapt to the change that's coming, it makes it so enjoyable to know that you're doing something right, and then something that in the future our children will enjoy. They'll enjoy a greener Nairobi, a cleaner Nairobi, because of something as simple as a bicycle. And then also, I think for me the biggest one is the change in culture, that a bicycle is no longer a poor man's form of transport, and a bicycle can bring a lot of respect to anybody who chooses to use it.
I really like these bikes because it's actually easy to. You don't sweat. It's a joy.
Yeah.
You're not straining yourself going up the hills.
Yeah.
On those bicycles. Yeah, I'm excited with the potential of addressing mobility challenges in the rural areas with electric bikes, especially now with the way the world is going and the petrol price just keeps going up. I was reading the newspaper yesterday. I think almost everywhere. I think in America they're saying petrol is past, in some states it's now past $5 per gallon for the first time like forever or something. So that will squeeze people's pockets, and then people maybe will be led to look at ways to reduce their costs, and electric bikes are some of them. So what are some of the challenges, as we close up, what are some of the challenges that you faced in your early journey? And maybe, I don't know, just a few, and how did you overcome them?
The supply chain.
The supply chain.
Yeah.
Because of the COVID period as well.
Yeah.
You started at a challenging time.
Yes.
But you've managed to do well, up to 100 bikes now. I'm happy and I'm excited for you.
Yes. And then the other thing is just finding the skill. So it would be really an amazing situation where we could have skills around electric mobility in Africa.
In Africa.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
because right now, if you think about it, most of our guys are seeing an electrical bike for the first time.
Yes.
So it's understanding it, not to say we can't adopt, it's just the process of understanding it, appreciating it, and then also making sure that we do build our own electrical bike that is sustainable for Africa, made in Africa, by Africa.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm very excited. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you for your time.
Thank you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, viewers.